George Gabby Haynes is a Hollywood legend. I mean, you already know who he is. You've seen him before. He's the grizzly old codger from countless old westerns, who tags along with the likes of John Wayne, Roy Rogers, William Boyd, and so on. And you know what? I wanted to learn a little bit more about him, so I did a little bit of research and I put this biography together. I'd like to talk about his life, his accomplishments, films he's known for, try to get to know him a little bit better. George Haynes was born May 7th, 1885, and was the third of seven children. He was born in the Hayes Hotel that was owned by his father in Standards, New York. As a young man, he worked in a circus and also played semi-pro baseball. At age 17, he ran away from home and joined a touring stock company and also traveled sometime with a circus. He found success with vaudeville, and he married Olive Ireland in 1914, and the two would be together for over 40 years until her death in 1957. They never had any children. They both performed together on the vaudeville circuit, and he retired in his 40s, but he lost much of his money in the 1929 stock market crash, so he was forced to return to work. So they moved to California, and he met producer Trem Carr and began to work on various Hollywood productions. He is known largely for westerns, but he did plenty of other non-western films as well, and he appeared in almost 200 films in total. Funny thing is, even though he is so well known for his westerns, he actually had no cowboy background, and he learned to ride a horse in his 40s. Hayes became famous as William Boyd's Hopalong Cassidy sidekick, Windy Halliday, in many films in the 1930s, starting with the film Three on the Trail in 1936. He played a role in 22 Hopalong Cassidy films up until the film role of The Renegade Trail in 1939. Now, around here, he left the Cassidy films due to a salary dispute and legally could no longer use the name Windy. So it's around here that he took on the name of Gabby. And from about 1940 on, this was how he was known. He soon switched over to Republic Pictures and took a sidekick role with Roy Rogers, the first role being in Southward Ho from 1939. He was in 41 films with Roy Rogers. His last film with Rogers was Eldorado in 1946. He also appeared with Western stars like Gene Autry and John Wayne in their films. He was also a star in movies that were directed by famous directors like John Ford and Cecil B. DeMille. Honestly, thinking of Gabby Haynes, there are so many memorable films that I have seen that he has been in. But for me, I think fondly of films like Tall in the Saddle with John Wayne, Call of the Prairie with William Boyd as Hopalong Cassidy, Bad Man's Territory with Randall Scott, Eldorado with Roy Rogers, and so many others. Look, if you have favorites featuring Gabby Haynes, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to check him out. He has been in so many films. I honestly can't claim to have seen them all, but I would like to try. After his last film in 1950, he hosted a TV show that told stories of the Old West for kids. It was called The Gabby Haynes Show. He would introduce and moderate old westerns that were trimmed down to fit a half-hour slot. Around 1954, he also did some work as host of the Howdy Doody TV show. It was during a time when Buffalo Bob Smith was recuperating from a heart attack. In the 1950s, he was involved with Gabby Haynes Ranch for boys and girls. The camp was located in East Jewett, New York. He even had his own comic book series for Charlton and Fawcett in the late 40s through the 1950s. And you can find a lot of these on the Internet Archive. I've got some linked below. In real life, it's said that he was quite the opposite of his film characters. You know, you think of him as kind of the gruff, shaggy character with the baggy pants and so on. But in real life, he was well-read and was also one of Hollywood's most tasteful dressers. And although depicted as drunken and inept in these films, he was actually an accomplished gun handler and could easily perform skilled pistol tricks, such as twirling them in different directions, both vertical and horizontal twirling, tossing and catching the pistols, and even holstering his gun mid-twirl. Pretty cool. Regarding acting with John Wayne, the two were friends since their first pairing in the film Riders of Destiny. And from what I've read, the two actors were very close in real life. Wayne's children thought of Hayes as an uncle, and Hayes often described Wayne as the son he always wanted. He devoted the final years of his life to his investments and would die of heart disease in Burbank, California on February 9th, 1969. and was buried in Forest Lawn Cemetery in the Hollywood Hills. He has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, speaking as someone who loves watching old westerns, it's always a treat when Gabby Haynes shows up. Generally as that lovable, grizzly old codger, sometimes hitting the drink a little too hard, but always a faithful sidekick ready to impart his wisdom about life or women. But when trouble arrives, he's ready to stand by as a loyal friend. You know, if I ever found myself as a cowboy in an old western, you know what? It would be my hope that I'd get someone like Gabby Haynes by my side. You're darn tootin'! He was a legend.